All right, still on number 6, this is part 2. We want to use synthetic division and identify the bounds of the zero, so upper bound and lower bound. So I'm also going to go to the text and show you this rule. It's on page 6. Talks about rules of bounds. So what we have to have our polynomials. We have to have a positive leading coefficient, and the degree has to be greater than 1. A is a negative number, B will be a positive number that we pick, and it says no real zero is larger than B, which is going to be the upper bound, which is going to find. If, when we do synthetic division with this number B, the quotient, so the last row, will have no negative coefficients. So that is, when we take this and divide by this, we will have no negative coefficients in the last row. And then part 2 says A is going to be smaller. It's going to be a negative number. There's nothing going to be smaller than A if the last row synthetic division has alternate signs. So it's going to be switching from positive to negative, positive, negative. And 0 can be either one. Okay, so there's some examples here, but this is what the rule states, and we're just going to do it. So this is just a trial and error thing. You pick a number and you go up from there, or you go smaller from there. So let me go back. Here is our polynomial qx is equal to x cubed minus 4x squared plus 16x minus 64. Now, this has nothing to do with the possible rational zeros, so you don't have to do p divided by q, list them all out. It's not going to be one of those numbers. It's just you have to do what the definition says. So I'm going to start with the relatively small, and I usually try to pick 2 and go up from there. Okay, so this is just a recommendation. 2 will get you started, and you can try bigger or smaller. It doesn't matter. But you want to find the least upper bound, which is the smallest of all the possible. So I'm going to list the coefficients. 1, negative 4, 16, negative 64. So what this says is we're going to do synthetic division. Everything has to be positive. The moment I get something negative, I stop. I don't have to keep going. Okay, so I'm going to bring down 1. 2 times 1 is 2. Subtract these, I get negative 2. Okay, so negative 2 is not the upper bound because this row has to be all positive, and I got a negative number. So right here, I'm going to stop. Okay, and now I'm going to try the number. Now, if I try 3, it's still going to be negative, right? Because if I did 3 times 1, I would have 3, and then 4 minus 3 gives me negative 1. Okay, so I'm going to skip 3, and I'm going to go to 4. I'm going to see if 4 works. Okay, so 4. Just kind of thinking ahead, and this is the way you have to work it. So still 1, negative 4, 16, and then 64. Bring the first term straight down, 1, and I'm going to do 4 times 1 gives me a 4, and then 4 minus 4 is 0. So 0 is okay. It could be positive or negative, or it could be, it works. 4 times 0 is 0, and then combine these, we get 16. No, yep. And then 4 times 16 gives us 64, and this should be negative, sorry. I didn't bring my negative down. And subtract those, we get 0. Okay, so the rule says, let's go back and verify it. I believe 0 can count as positive or negative. When you think about sign changes, it says it can't have no negative. Okay, so we're going to say that 0 is our upper bound. I'm sorry, not 0, 4. Because when we did 4 with synthetic division, everything came out positive. Okay, and now we need to find the lower bound. So lower bound wants us to have alternating signs. So again, I'm going to start with negative 2. I'll start out with 2, and then I'm going to go to smaller negative numbers from there. So we have 1, negative 4, 16, and negative 64. Bring the first term straight down. We have 1, which is positive. Negative 2 times 1, negative 2. Combine those, we get negative 6. So positive, negative is good. Negative times a negative give me a positive 12. Combine these two, and we get 28. and then negative times a negative, negative times a positive is going to be negative. So times 2, we get 56. Negative 56. Combine those, we get negative 120. Okay, so it works with negative 2. So the only thing we have to consider is negative 2 our lower bound, or is there something smaller, like maybe negative 1. Right now, they oscillate, positive, negative, negative. That's what the rule says. It has to alternate. So 2 could possibly be it. Okay, let's check negative 1 just to be sure. Okay. Now you can always punch it in, but if you're doing certified, you don't want to try a wrong answer, then you have to do it all over again. So I'm going to try negative 1, just to make sure there's nothing smaller that works other than negative 2. So negative 1, and then my terms were 1, negative 4, 16, and negative 64. I believe it should be negative 2, but we'll see. Bring the 1 straight down, multiply, we get negative 1, combine, we get negative 5. Negative 5 times negative 1 gives us a positive 5. Combine these, and we get 21. And then multiply, we get negative 21. And combine, we get a negative 85. Okay, so negative 1 also works, and it's smaller than negative 2. So we want to use negative 1. So negative 1 is going to be our least, our lower bound, and then 4 is going to be our upper bound, because it alternates signs there as well. So we're going to try 4 and negative 1.